Hi there. Welcome everyone to our next session of Meet the Members of Empower Africa. I'm excited and honored to host this terrific podcast. My name is Shai Bernstein. I'm VP of Biz Development and Partnerships in Empower Africa. And as you can see, we're having more and more of these because the business community is growing and growing, and we want everybody to know about each other and get more exposure. Before I present our distinguished guests for today, I'd like to, for those of us who are joining us for the first time, Empower Africa is a business community with a mission to drive investment, trade, and job creation in Africa. We believe in trade over aid, and that business is the best way to grow, build, and create sustainable and scalable solutions. We believe in bringing good people together. We believe in the power of synergy, and our goal is to create connections, optimize the communication, and maximize on the collaboration that can be done. The business community brings together entrepreneurs, SMEs, investors, banks, PEs, VCs, family offices, government officials, nonprofits, multinational enterprises, everyone to one place so we can enhance the collaboration and communication. Speaking of bringing good people together, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Orit Strauss, CEO and co-founder of GivingWay. Orit, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Orit and I met not too long ago, actually, in a in-person event in Tel Aviv, and started discussing, what both our companies are doing, and it's fascinating the work that GivingWay is doing. We'll hear about it more in a second, and it's an honor to have you here. So please, Orit, tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you. So again, really, it was so nice meeting you the other day, and to be in an in-person meeting is not a trivial thing.
It's very true.
And, nothing replaces in-person meetings. So it was great to meet you and to hear more about Empower Africa. And I mean, I think that we both, at the minute we started to speak, we saw how what great possibilities and synergies there are here. So. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Israel, but born and raised to parents from South Africa and Zimbabwe. So the connection to South Africa or to Africa begins from an early age, hearing a lot of stories about how my family grew up there and all the challenges and the difficulties and the intricacies of growing up in those parts. I live in Tel Aviv. I'm 43. That's
ex corporate lawyer in one of the top firms in Israel.
I did the corporate route. I spent about 12 years as a corporate lawyer, specializing in high tech and mostly intellectual property in HFN, Herzog Fox Neman, indeed one of the largest firms in Israel. And I did that for about 12 years. And about 6 years ago, I decided to move over to the entrepreneurial side of life and pursue something that I'm very passionate about myself. And I actually spent a year volunteering abroad before university in working with Burmese refugees on the Thai-Burma border. I thought that I would do it for 2 or 3 months or weeks, and I ended up staying for a year.
Wow.
And it's something that always resonated with me, and I knew that at some point or other in my life I would go back to this to this field. And when I decided to leave the firm, and I took a deeper dive into what had happened in this world of volunteering abroad, and I was actually amazed to discover 2 things. The first was to see how popular volunteering abroad had become. I know it's a bit funny to talk about travel now, but before and after the pandemic, travel has changed in general, and people today are looking for experiences that are much more immersive and authentic. And it's not just about seeing the Eiffel Tower from afar. So volunteering abroad had really become super popular as an industry, but it also became very broken, or because essentially the way the market works is that you have on the one hand people seeking to volunteer who are usually from Western countries, and on the other hand you have local nonprofits, usually in developing countries, that need volunteers. And there's obviously there's a big a disconnect or a difficulty in connecting between the two sides of the market. And the initial idea of setting up GivingWay, which came from someone who one of my 2 co-founders who I immensely respect. His name is Gigi Levy. His name goes before him in Israel. And he basically came up with the idea of creating a marketplace that would connect volunteers, prospective volunteers, with local grassroots organizations in developing countries, and to really be a sort of Airbnb of this industry and democratize an industry that was working very, very inefficiently. And that's how we basically started GivingWay. I was very fortunate to connect with my second partner, Alon Elish, who's the technical side of the company, who was very, very experienced product and code developer.
Right.
And we set out to connect this bridge between people seeking to volunteer abroad and grassroots organizations in emerging market countries. And we were very, very focused from the beginning in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. And that's how it all began. That's how GivingWay started at the end of 2015, so about 6 years ago.
Right. Fantastic. And so what in terms of what GivingWay is doing now, and you just in general, who would you want to connect to in the Empower Africa business community and in general?
Yeah, so basically GivingWay went through a bit of a journey in the 6 years since we started. So we started off as this platform that connects between people seeking to volunteer physically on ground with NGOs. And we grew very, very fast. And we had more and more NGOs joining the platform. Today, by the way, already we work with over 7,500 NGOs, of which about 5,000 are in Africa. So by far the most dominant region we work in is in Africa. And over the years, we got to know very closely the work with NGOs in these parts of the world. And we got to know their challenges and their pain points and their capabilities. And we kept on adding more and more services that are tailored to the needs of NGOs in these parts of the world, so that if you're a small NGO in a town in Uganda or Sierra Leone or Rwanda, for that matter, you're able to recruit volunteers, you're able to raise funds from donors, and use the best in practice online fundraising and volunteer management tools that are available for many Western NGOs, but through GivingWay are very much tailored to your needs on the ground. So, for example, one of the things that we do is that we support many local different payment methods and payment currencies, and mobile money and M-Pesa in Kenya and MTN in Uganda and other countries. So, when the pandemic struck, we actually did a pretty big pivot of the company from being more focused on volunteering to being more focused on fundraising, because travel was put on hold. A lot of organizations' funding sources were put on hold or in question. And for the last year and a half, basically, we've shifted our focus to being very heavily focused on fundraising tools to NGOs.
Right.
So in terms of who I'd like to partner with, like I said, our focus is very heavy on Africa, and we have very big plans for the future. I mean, we work today with 5,000 NGOs in Africa, but we want to scale this much more and reach, every NGO in Africa should ultimately know about GivingWay and about the benefits of using our platform. So people who can help us connect and scale our work with NGOs, for example, through either government officials or government, on a more regional or national basis. Right. As one example, we have different opportunities to work with students who can volunteer and help and support causes they care about. So universities and educational programs in Africa is another example. We also work with corporations as part of our service for NGOs. We also help them reach donors and funding. So CSR programs and local companies that want to engage in, corporate social responsibility initiatives by supporting local community-based organizations. So there are many opportunities, and we're always looking for interesting partnerships.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. Great. So to sum things up, we always like to, ask our guests to share a saying or a quote that they find inspiring, that they resonate with. So please.
Okay. I actually, it's something that it was from as a kid. I remember in my dad's office, he had this quote hanging on the wall. I think it's some kind of take on a Mark Twain saying, is some kind of variation. I hope I don't get it wrong, but it said something like, The trouble with most folk ain't what they don't know, it's what they know that just ain't so. I hope I didn't get that wrong. And it's always resonated with me, first of all, because my dad is he's an extremely accomplished professional. He's a doctor, a professor, well known in his field, but also extremely modest. And I think that, and he's always, and I think that just in life, the goal should be, we should all try in our little patches of life to be as modest and humble as we can. And I think that it resonates, and it crosses in a lot of different things, also in business, even as a startup. I see it all the time. Sometimes it's tempting and easy to fall into assumptions. You assume things about the market, about your product, about your customers. And us specifically in GivingWay, we're obsessed with data and trying not to fall into assumptions, but to try and analyze and to understand data as much as possible, and not to think that we know the answers, because usually we don't.
Amen. No, very true. Amen. Very true. Love it. Okay, thank you. So Orit, we're of course gonna, continue talking on offline, and I'll see you in the event next week. It was great speaking with you here and hosting you in our Meet the Members podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.